Hey guys, so we've recently come back from our short trip to Marrakesh. As first-time travellers to Marrakesh, we did research quite a lot before we went, but there's a few things that we had to learn the hard way.
So this video is basically to tell you about the top 10 tips that we have for when you travel to Marrakesh. So let's get to it. Tip number 1, from the airport as soon as you land, you should first and foremost buy a 4G SIM card. Having that SIM card is very important. It will help you get around and navigate easily. The SIM card's free, but you'll need to top it up. You'll need to exchange a minimum amount of money to get the top-up voucher, get the telecom assistant to help you top it up. Unless you're very fluent in Arabic or French, it's very difficult to do so. So we got 20 gigs worth, which is more than sufficient for the trip. Tip number 2, you want to get some money out. There's 2 ATM machines in the arrivals area. The cash is primarily for taxi drivers and anything you buy in the souks. In my opinion, you want to take out a baseline amount of cash. Everything else you want to pay on card.
Just a note as well, obviously dirhams is a closed currency, so you can only exchange the money once you arrive in Marrakesh. So if you do want to exchange any money back into
local currency,
then make sure you do it there before you leave.
And before we move on to tip 3, a quick suggestion is to get MONZO. MONZO is a UK bank account. At the time we're making this video, MONZO allows up to £200 to be taken out without any charges. It's really great for travel. You get instant notifications. You don't have to let them know wherever you're traveling before you do so. And if you guys would like to get it, we have a referral link down in the description. Check it out. And if you do use our referral link, the first time you use it, you will actually get £5. And so will we. So it's win-win.
So tip number 3 is to dress appropriately. The time we went, which was mid-April, it was quite cool in the morning and evening. So take a light jacket, and even if you go to the Atlas Mountains, I found it a bit cool. And also if you do like hot air balloon, because you have to start off early in the morning, it was quite cold really.
Yeah, you want to basically dress in layers. So if you go out for an evening meal, it'll start off hot, but by the time you leave, it'll get quite cool.
And also if you do any activities that are to do with sort of religious places, you've got to make sure you're appropriately covered. Yeah,
but apart from that, anywhere else, you're fine. It's just, I think, near religious areas that you've got to be a bit more conscious and cautious. Tip number 4, you don't always need to travel in a taxi. You can walk around a lot of the main attractions, especially if you're centrally located. So our hotel is actually around 1.2 miles away from the Medina, the main sort of area where it's all happening. The first day we went to the famous gardens where everyone takes Instagram pictures. Easily walkable.
Especially if you do get the SIM and you've got Google Maps, navigation is not a problem then.
If you are walking around, be careful when crossing the road. You want to ideally cross with a local because they know how to go about doing it.
There are zebra crossings, but obviously they're not adhered to. But just be careful when you do cross the roads.
Uber does not operate in Marrakesh, and that leads us on to tip number 5. If you are going to take a taxi, you want to download an app called ROBY. That's ROBY. Their website is roby.taxi. We discovered partway through our trip, which saved us a lot of hassle. It's like Uber. The taxi will turn up to your location, however you will still need to pay them by cash.
It took the stress out of trying to barter a good price to get to places.
Taxi drivers that use the ROBY, they still won't switch the meter on, but whatever price it tells you on the screen is roughly the price that you should be paying. A lot of Marrakesh is still based on bartering and buying anything, and I mean anything. Don't be afraid to put stuff down and walk away, because there's a lot of sellers selling the same sort of stuff. We were even bartering in the chemist, so we needed to get some sunscreen. I decided to try barter the price of the sunscreen in a chemist, but it worked. We got around 10 to 20 dirhams off. It still wasn't as cheap as I wanted it to be, so we didn't end up getting it. But it just goes to show that you can literally barter anywhere.
The next best thing is probably go to the local supermarkets. In the end, we actually found a supermarket and we got our sunscreen from there. And obviously it just has a fixed price and you just pay as you would normally.
Moving on to tip number 8. Brush up on your French, and if you're feeling extra adventurous, on your Arabic as well. And you don't have to be an expert before you go, but small phrases here and there will help put other people at ease. And obviously you get extra brownie points for trying, so they'll give you a better service, and normally they smiled whenever you tried, even if it was really bad. The few phrases that we learned, one was thank you in Arabic.
Yep, which is shukran.
The other one, which is shy, that's commonly needed, is Arabic for Moroccan mint tea, and they drink loads of Moroccan mint tea. It's really nice, by the way. Also, no, good morning in Arabic.
Sabah el khair.
And I think good evening was Messai.
Let's not go there.
But
Forget
yeah,
that one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry, the bill. I forgot the bill.
Yeah, go on, you say it.
The bill is fatura or fatura. Fatura sounds, yeah, about right. So those few phrases weren't groundbreaking, but they were enough to show that you respected the culture and you've made an effort.
Tip number 9 is make sure you plan the time to go to Marrakesh. So the time we went was April, which was just before Ramadan. Things were still open, it was still busy and buzzing. But if you go in, for example, in May, that's when the month of fasting happens, and you know, shops are shut or they shut early, so you probably won't get the same atmosphere as you would on a normal time of the year.
Final tip, tip 10, it's not very exciting. It's to do with boarding passes.
Yeah, it helps to know.
And this is specific to Ryanair, I think. So if you're traveling with another airline, it might be different. But for Ryanair coming from the UK, you want to ensure you've either A, printed your boarding pass before you turn up. But if you can't, ensure that you've checked in online via their mobile site and then be able to view the boarding passes as PDFs. And assuming you've got them as PDFs and you go to check in, you will not incur the charge of printing them at the airport. If you just checked in via the app and turned up without a printed boarding pass, Ryanair will charge you to have it printed there and then at the airport. There's our quick 10 tips to know before you go to Marrakesh.